Welcome back. You are still watching Good Morning Kenya, and of course, after that very good debate with Jane and the engineer, now let's shift gears and talk about some of the issues that's affecting you. Now let's focus on the viewpoint. And today, I'm being joined by Hamisi Mboga, who is also just joining me via Zoom. Hamisi Mboga, who is a political analyst and a governance expert, as well as a member Magufuli, who is a founder and secretary general of National Reconstruction Alliance, NRA party. He is a youth activist and based in Busia, and is also an MP aspirant in Busia County come 2022. I need to mention this. I think I will have to mention his age by his permission, but that is a youth member, and of course he's an activist as well, and a member of parliament aspirant in Busia County come 2022. Gentlemen, good morning, and from wherever you're watching from, let me start with you, Hamisi Mboga. It's been a while before we talked. How are you doing? Good morning.
But now let's come back to the city. The city is a bit cold for some of us who come from the ocean.
Yes.
But we have been here long enough to adjust.
Absolutely. And I'm member Magufuli. Good morning. How is Busia County doing? Okay. We're still trying to connect to a member Magufuli, and as soon as we do that, we'll get in touch with him. Hamisi, let me just get... Okay, all right. If you can hear me, a member? All right. Let's just sort that out quickly, and we'll get back to him as soon as possible. Let's just get straight into it. Hamisi, it's been quite some time, and of course, a lot has been happening in the political scene. Now, from the cartoon, from the Star newspaper here, it was an interesting kind of a cartoon where from the pronouncement of President Kenyatta that he's ready to support one of NASA's flag bearer come 2022, if they unite, has rattled so many people. Do you think this is going to open a Pandora's box from now moving forward?
Yes and no, because in politics, everything and anything is possible. And now that he's been quiet, the president has been quiet for a long time, now he has said it, it's an indication there is a move. But this move has been seen. The movement between the struggle in the party, in the Jubilee party, has given us some political indications that things are not the same, and they will not be the same in 2022. So I think it's possible. The first indication came when the president was in Vihiga during the burial of the mother of Mheshimiwa MM. We could see some indications that he's ready to consider the other regions apart from the region that he comes from and the region that the deputy comes from. So plus other statements from the groups, you realize actually things will not be the same. One of the members, I think last week or so, said that party is dead. Somebody said we are not going out until it is remaining a skeleton. You know, those are the kind of indications that anything can happen, and the alignment has already started. Look at after that. Look at the meeting in State House. Look at the burial of Mheshimiwa Kalembe Ndile. You're picking up notes that things will not be the same, and it is possible that if the NASA group, and you'll see when we say the NASA group, we're talking about the big five. Even if the big two, even if the big three decide to work together, then one of them can be supported.
But then the question is, he said that he's ready to support one of NASA's flag bearer if. The question is if. So if they don't unite, then his support is not going to be seen.
Yes, he will look for another group. You know, I think behind the mind of the president is he wants this country to move together. A partnership between the groups, the politicians must agree, and he's looking at a majority of the politicians that will bring this country together. If you see, in a situation where you see Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, Mheshimiwa Mudavadi, Mheshimiwa Raila, and Mheshimiwa Weta, if they're together, you see a solid voice, you see a solid movement, you see a solid region, combination of regions. There is that voice coming out. But if everybody goes away, we are reminded about when we said Kibaki Tosha. Did you see the movement of the Kenyans? They follow their leaders. When say Kibaki Tosha and we all say it's time for change, the time came. So are we expecting to see a repeat? We are thinking aloud.
Absolutely. And we also remember when President said that, during a burial of Musalia Mudavadi's mother, he said that hata yeye pia anaweza amua seme that power can go anywhere else, not supposed to be one community over the years. So are we likely to see this happening, or is this a clear indication of the president's intention to make this happen?
My view is, I think he was replying and answering some very deep questions that some people had, because the original party was 10 years for President Uhuru, 10 years for Deputy President Ndugu William. Some of us are thinking 10 years Uhuru, 10 years Ndugu William. What happens after that? The rest of the region, in terms of that sharing of those positions, the problem is distribution. If we had a good system of distribution of resources and accountability, I won't care who becomes the president, because I know there's a system and everybody. But our history, it says where the president comes from, some goods will go there. This is a fight, and Kenyans must revisit this concept of distribution, equitability, sharing, accountability, removing of corruption. Nobody would care who sits in that seat, but we know if somebody sits there, then he's lying. If you look at the distribution of, let's go to the top, the distribution of the positions in the government, looking at the first term of Uhuru Ruto, we could clearly see this is a Ruto person, this is a Uhuru person, except one or two. The region was being led by two people. This is what people are saying out here. Can it be redesigned so that more people can feel that I am a Kenyan? The other time, up to yesterday, somebody says our president has been stolen. Their president, not you or me. So the moment we have that thinking that this is ours and doesn't belong to the other people who are not in our team, we have a challenge, Kenyans.
And why do you think the president would want to support the opposition? This is something that nobody would actually imagine, that having that kind of bromance, Uhuru Tano and Deputy President William Ruto Tano, Kumi, and now the tune is completely changing, and this is a second or third day of that pronouncement. What do you really think is now the fate of Deputy President in terms of 2022 succession plan?
It's difficult, but he's a good guy. He's an intelligent person, and you can see his roots. Throughout my history in politics, in observing politics, I've never seen a strong deputy president like Ndugu William.
Yes.
So he has a base, and we are dealing with a number of things. A number of things is what will happen if, you remember one statement yesterday said, I think our goods are safe in the hands of so-and-so. What are these goods? What are these our interests? What are these interests that can be taken care of are they going to be in danger with so and so? You know, we are talking the Kenyan mind, eh? So there is something behind that time. Handshake is saying a number of things. The 9 issues that are so crucial to the Kenyan people have been touched.
Yeah.
All these addressed. Shall we be better? Shall Kenya be a better place for us to invest, to live, to stay? If so, who is supporting that? And who is not? So I think the crux of the matter started with the handshake, and it will go all the way to 2022.
Yes. And how is this likely to change the political game plan moving forward?
Political plan is those of us who are coming from the political thinking side it's going to be better for Kenyans. The moment you have 2 groups so tightly together, they will dominate the other people for a long time. But if the field is reshuffled, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity of having new faces, new areas, new alignments, as long as they're better for better of the country, as long as they're addressing issues. The moment we stopped addressing issues in Kenya, we went wrong. Our issues is governance. Governance is to provide opportunities for people to sustain their development and their lives. So if these others are supposed to add value to that one. So if we get somebody who will bring people together and say, forget about politics, forget about chair. If we have 10 candidates for presidency, but the chair is 1, what are you talking about? It's 1 out of 10. So why do you struggle so much if you know the possibility of you winning is a 10th? Is it valuable? Do we have to rethink again? So these are some of it. The other level is you can't fight with somebody in politics and he beats you by 10 votes, and then he takes everything home and you take nothing. This has been in the mind of the politicians. I'm coming back to my theory of distribution. Distribution of resources, distribution of political positions, distribution of even the minds. Distribution is, unless we stop this, huyo anatoka kwetu.
Yes.
Until you see somebody coming from your area that he is so and so, then you think it is yours. But we are going to 50 million people. Let it be a level playing ground. Let's get somebody from Turkana, and then as long as they're following the rules and responsibilities given, we want this country to move on. And we have a big opportunity.
Yes.
If you look at devolution, what has done. I went to Marsabit the other day, but before that it was a difficult journey to Marsabit. Now you can take off from Thika or from Nairobi to Marsabit, and you'll have your evening tea and dinner. You go to
Hamisi Mboga, we are talking about pertinent issues here. The 2022 succession plan. Remember, President Kenyatta just said the other day that he is ready to support any of the NASA's candidate only if they come together and unite as a team. And that he's already raising eyebrows from the Tanga wing that is led by the Deputy President himself and members allied to him. The question is, how is it going to be moving forward? And having in mind that all of these politicians, that is President Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto, and all of them just working on that, all right? Yeah, that's a good thing of working with technology. So how is the president going to juggle all these things moving forward, having in mind that his deputy, they broke ranks months ago with the Deputy President William Ruto, and now the pronouncement that is ready to support any of the opposition, that is NASA chiefs. And the president's call was the NASA principles to revive NASA. So seemingly, NASA is not dead, as was purportedly said by several people that NASA was dead. But you see, this politics, it can be created, a perception can be created in the heads of people to create a scenario that, or a situation that something is happening in the country. And of course, about politicians, it's just about how you're going to malign the name of your opponent. So that is going to be the next debate for the next couple of weeks, if so, because moving forward, election is just around the corner. To politicians, there's no time left. There's no time left. So that is what is happening. And of course, we are also trying to join to a member, Magufuli, who is also aspiring for a member of parliament seat in Busia County come 2022. And he's also a founder of a party, and he's a secretary general of National Reconstruction Party, which is also going to be used. He's going to use this as a vehicle to vie for that member of parliament seat in Busia County come 2022. We are still connecting to Hamisi Mboga. The communication is still on. You can send in your comments, your questions, or even your comments to us, and then we will be sampling them during and at the tail end of this particular program. All right, let me just connect back to Hamisi Mboga. If you can hear me now, I hope we are good to go. All right. Oh, welcome back. Thank you. So we are just talking about this issue of the president. Perhaps you might just tell me, what do you think is the president's biggest intention moving forward, from your own perspective?
From my own perspective, the president is interested in securing
Deputy President accused the president of intentionally destroying the party, that is the Jubilee Party, to pave way for support of regional and tribal parties. Deputy President William Ruto has questioned President Kenyatta's political allegiance after the president declared that he will back a NASA candidate in the succession race. In a hard-hitting tweet crafted in Kikuyu, Kalenjin, and English, Ruto accused the president of intentionally destroying the Jubilee Party to pave way for support of regional and tribal parties. Let me just read that briefly. The DP used the opportunity to build a case for United Democratic Alliance UDA party that is associated with and the president. Okay, so let me just quote what the DP said in that. So, and I quote, so what happens to the Turakus, the Kumera contingent, the 8 million of us? None. No youth, no woman, no man of the 8 million who woke up early and voted 3 times for UK WSR, that is William Samoei Ruto ticket merit support. Sawa tu, tutajipanga na support ya Mungu. The DP tweeted. Perhaps, Hamisi, if you can just get me understand this. The DP, after that, the pronouncement by the president, sent out that tweet, and perhaps he was just, directing his, addressing his boss directly.
Yes, because the moment you mention you touch the party, you're touching the presidency, and William is one of them.
Yes.
This thing did not start this week or last week. When the handshake came, the Jubilee structure, you can see the number of meetings that they have held. You can see the struggle between the leadership in the party. And maybe it's a response to, if you can form UDA, then I can join somebody else. Do you see? I want us to look at the both sides of the coin.
Sure.
Even UDA was meant to finish. You remember I said, somebody in one group said, we shall stay until Jubilee is a skeleton. We shall have a different, and the home was so, elections. And you, as a politician, you must have strategy. And now I think the gloves have been removed. And when somebody throws a piece, it may hit your head. Numbers. If your numbers are not adding up, you can still be there and not win. So people are looking for a formula to develop numbers, because to the part
all right.
to believe.
We've lost Hamisi.
Hamisi, you're just trying to connect back to your network there. And we are just trying to talk about this issue of the tweet which was sent out by Deputy President William Ruto yesterday after the remarks, after the president hinted at supporting a NASA candidate if they unite come 2022. And that is just about to call for a succession plan. And that has thrown most of the Jubilee supporters and the party affiliated to Jubilee in this particular matrix, and of course how it's going to work out for Deputy President William Ruto come 2022. And of course they have been accusing the president of deliberately failing the party and killing the Jubilee party in this race, and in terms of not supporting his deputy president, as they say that he promised during their campaigns that the president was going to take for going for 10 years and support his deputy for another term of 10 years. But as they say, politics is a game of, you know, interest, and like a game of chess. It's like going to war. You don't tell your opponent your next move. Your only work is just to ambush. And whatever the president is doing, perhaps he's the one who is only can tell at best, based on to him, having in mind that elections is just a couple of months away, 12, 13, thereabout, and everybody's now putting their houses in order, in readiness for that big day. And of course, we're still going to be having to delve deeper into this conversation just to understand what's in the mind of the deputy president as well as the president and all these other leaders. Some people say that NASA was dead, but after that conversation, after that statement by the president, the question could be, was NASA dead, really? Or was it just put somewhere in a shelf and now it's back to life? Okay? And is NASA going to have it strong until 2022? Perhaps, Hamisi, if you can now hear me, we can get the conversation going. You can take it over from where you left. You are still saying something, Hamisi?
Hey, thank you. I was just saying that I think there's a challenge in Jubilee. One is when we go the way we are going up to 2022, some people will have a house called UDA. How about those who will not be in UDA and they're still in Jubilee? They must find another house. I'm looking at the scenario of a group that is supporting the president and a group that is supporting the deputy president. So if UDA is going to house some of the people in that camp, this other group must find a house. And these are all, again, we're coming back to the scenarios, to the strategies. So I think that is one of the reasons that people are looking for a house to stand on or to sit on. The other thing is looking at NASA. I don't think whether NASA is dead. it is only silence. Because if you look at how NASA was formed and how it can be dissolved, it has never been dissolved. So it is still there. Maybe you can waken up in politics. 1 week is long enough to be able to change the whole scenario. So there is a possibility for NASA to come back, even if it is not whole numbers of the supporters, but it is still there in the registrar. It has not been broken up. Or there's a possibility of having a new NASA. These alliances can be formed very, very, very fast in terms of alignment. If you go back to the history, you can see ODM and ODM Kenya. It was one party, and it came crumbling. But in another very few months, a new party, ODM, was formed, and it became as strong. So all these are possibilities. But I'm saying that the division is a bit too deep in the party, and maybe they have to come out and say, okay, we support this or we don't support this. For example, when you go to the Political Parties Act and you're supporting another party or another group, what does it say? You leave the one that you don't want, you go and form the new one that you want, and ask the people to put you there. And that is a strategy that cannot work now because we're so close to the elections. You cannot move out of your party and then go back to elections, and then general elections is in a few months. So people will have to, if you use the Swahili word, they have to kaa ngumu until 2022. And then you will see a lot of movement towards 2022 of redesign. You may see some people from NASA going to the other side. You may see people from UDA or from Jubilee going to other. People will have to have their interests and they have to calculate their movement. If you want to know why people are fighting, is if one person moves out of the parliament, about 20 people want that position. So there are people waiting. If you play around, they will come and join it. This is what politics is all about.
Okay, then perhaps you might need to think that, or to reason that UDA now must be having a lot of work to do to familiarize the party and just to solidify the party in readiness for 2022. Don't you think so?
That is the position, because I'm not sure whether they will come back to kind of main fences with the other Jubilee. I don't think that they will be able to say, let's make Jubilee a stronger party again. It is possible in politics, but right now, I think the water has really run so deep in the other side.
Okay, and now, who are the biggest beneficiaries here? Are we likely to see more people now after that presidential pronouncement or that hint by the president? Are we likely to see most of the politicians now start turning their heads towards NASA or towards UDA? What is your perception?
May I give you some history? One time, people were complaining that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is a chameleon, but his strategy is working. He is working. You can see when Mheshimiwa Mangilu said, "You people must work together." Mheshimiwa Kalonzo said, "By the way, we have never quarreled with the Ndugu Raila. We are," and then he used the Swahili word, "Ukiviona vyelea vimeundwa." Ukiviona vimeundwa vyelea. You know, I think something is in the works. People are planning, so they can still join strength. Now we are watching Mheshimiwa Mudavadi. We are watching Weta has never said a thing. We are watching the former governor of Bomet. Those are the key. We are looking at the facial and body movements of Brother Gideon Moi. So, because if you want to observe politics, follow the leadership, you see how moving. And then finally, it's BBI. If BBI passes through, the UDA has challenge. If it doesn't pass through, they have a way of saying, yes, we said it is not working. So BBI is another factor. The handshake must come back. Okay, the handshake must come back either positively or because if BBI doesn't go through, Mheshimiwa Raila will have less support from the other side that does not support him every other time. But if it goes through, you create a position, a basis for distribution. I am coming back, distribution of position. And Kenya is about position, by the way.
Yes.
One time we quarreled and we said, we as the educationists, why do you make the parliament so lucrative that everybody wants to go there in terms of financial resources? That's why if you are a senior lecturer, you are a professor, you are getting less than a quarter of what a member of parliament. We shall all go to parliament. Let's redistribute even the resources so that people can play. Either I'm in parliament or not, I should be able to live like any other person. So we have a challenge in the governance structure.
Yes. Hamisi, let me just read the tweet here,
Yes.
which was sent out by Deputy President William Ruto. And just quickly, so the quote says, and I quote, "So was the destruction stroke dismembering of Jubilee, a national party, meant to pave way for support of regional and tribal parties in NASA? Now, with the collapse of Jubilee, isn't it fair for those who can't fit in ethnic parties to build UDA as an alternative national party?" Ama, what is your take on that tweet?
The tweet is responding to that same question that was asked when UDA was formed. Is the formation
Yes.
of UDA, was it meant to destroy Jubilee? And if so, can people just keep quiet until 2022? Can't they be able to form? So those are questions around the party issue. There has never been a PIN meeting. There have never been a discussion about the challenges that are there so that they can be sorted out. And people are looking for alternatives. Time is running out so fast. One time, people were saying, if you don't want Jubilee, move out. Okay? Ship
Yes.
out. And for the last 2 days or so, we are told, if you don't like Jubilee because you are supporting somebody else, you ship out also. So
Yes.
these are political strategies of saying, let's say this, what will happen? And it's building up pressure. But one big group of Kenyans are so quiet. You know, brother, you found out, they are so quiet, they're not saying anything. Are they like us observing the scenario and then jumping into the system when things are already there? Some people don't want to put up their neck and say something, but they may be supporting or opposing the situation. So Kenya, especially during this period between now and August 2022, we shall see a lot of history, a lot of politics around. It's all about positions and stakes and interests.
Yes.
You can see regions that are so quiet right now. The focus is now the central region. Is it divided? Is the mountain divided into half, east and west? Because that will make a difference also. Will part of the mountain go to UDA and part of the mountain go where Honorable President Uhuru will go? And the other question is Uhuru going home? He may be going home as a president. Is he going home politically? You know, these are some of the scenarios that we are watching. He may be politically active. If he is active, what role is he going to play?
Yes.
And he has a group of people also.
Okay. So the question is, okay, carry on.
Yeah, the other challenge is what happens to Western with a big block of votes? Is it going to stay intact with the MM and the team? Or is it going to be divided into those political parties that they have belonged to? Because that is a big factor. If you can get a half of Western vote and you get a half or even a quarter of central vote, and then you combine with 6% of Nyanza, you are home and dry. People are playing with numbers. So whom do we pull in to be able to do those things?
Yeah.
So politics is hot, and we shall enjoy those of us who just write and think about it. You know, when you are not in the boxing ring, you enjoy. You piga hapa angeanguka. You know, but you are out. You go into the ring and see what happens.
Yeah, I love the way you put it. The politics is hot, but for us, we just sit on the sidelines to enjoy.
And say,
but let's
yes. Kanyaga, funga bao. It's not easy to funga bao, my brother.
Yeah, no. This raises a very important and an interesting point here. Ngunjiri Mboga, that is Nyeri MP, said, and this is in response to Deputy President's tweet, he said that, and I quote, someone tell Ruto that his leaving hashtag Jubilee doesn't mean it stopped existing. He also left ODM and is also much alive. Now, let me ask you a question in regards to this one. Some people said that NASA was dead. And now the Deputy President and Jubilee allied politicians have been going down saying that the president has killed Jubilee. Are we likely to see a situation that Jubilee will be resuscitated sometimes in the near future, just the same way NASA is also being resuscitated as we speak, from like 2 days ago, and now is on its way to life?
Yes, because I told you, unless the party is completely deregistered and is not in the books of our law, then it is dead. As long as it is not, it can be, because a new group can come out very quickly and say, okay, those who don't want to believe, we are there. And then it can come out, and surprisingly, because they have numbers, surprisingly, it can make a force that somebody will reckon with. So NASA is not dead. People were saying, ODM Kwisha, it has not died. Those other parties that still exist are still there. Looking at Brother Ndugu Kalonzo Musyoka, he has a party. Looking at Mamangilu, he has a party. These parties can really be rejuvenated and come out very quickly to join us a team. And everything is possible. Anything is possible. So you don't underrate Jubilee. Under whatever leadership it has, the party is still there. It has very strong base and strong people who can support it. And don't underestimate UDA, because it's a young party. In this country, a young party can mobilize. We formed a combination of people in terms of parties so young, and they change this country. So it depends on who is pushing who. We want to see the people behind the President Uhuru. We want to see the people behind the Deputy President. We want to see the people that are being now told to come together in NASA. That will give us a kind of a direction of where we are going in terms of politics.
Hamisi, kindly paint for me a picture on how you think 2022 would look like. If you were to wake up today and say, election is next Monday, give me a picture on what you are trying to see in your head from where you look, from where you sit.
I have three pictures. One is one group that is being regrouped, that is NASA, with the support of the president, if so, has a very strong base for competition. The other group is the group that is being formed by the deputy president, UDA, is very strong. I'm expecting a third force. I'm expecting a third force that either supports or splits the votes. So to me, there are scenarios that that team that is being supported by the big shots, two teams, one being NASA, the other one being UDA, and they will really fight. Those are front runners. But don't underestimate anything in politics. A third force can come and say, we don't want UDA, we don't want the NASA group, and then they can come out with the support. So my picture is, we may have a government that is not fully strongly on one party. I'm expecting a coalition even after the election for governance. Look at what is happening in Israel. They can wake up and change government overnight because there's not one single party that is so strong alone. And what Mamangilu said, standing alone, you won't go. It's an indication that we need some strength in parties, strength in numbers. So there are about three scenarios. The others can support, but we have the party, the group that will be supported by NASA group, and the group that is supported by Ndugu William, And I'm expecting third force, because some people are so quiet. Some people have not come out to say, I'll support this or I'll support this. There could be a third force.
A third force. Okay. Hamisi, that's an interesting point there. And of course, that third force is will be used to strengthen one particular party or to break those particular parties, as you've correctly put it. But the question now remains is that what is now the whole essence of having Justin Muturi as the spokesman of Mount Kenya, a vote-rich region, over 4 million voters?
This is a spanner in the works, because actually some of us never saw it come. But
not really.
It has come. Yeah, but it has come and it has disrupted the system that we all vote together. You remember the Mount Kenya vote? But I think this has assisted the Mount Kenya vote to rethink about voting in one box. And there is a traction. You remember, if you follow the political history, part of the Eastern Mount Kenya has been supporting Doug William. If you just put your mathematics properly, is it strengthening that aspect that some of them will go straight to UDA or not? You can say that we call ourselves Mount Kenya, but in the seat that we discuss Mount Kenya, part of Mount Kenya is not there. People are questioning themselves: are we part of this Mount Kenya group or not? So that politically is going to split the votes in Mount Kenya. Call it that will determine the votes in Mount Kenya East. Where will it go? It is a block from Meru to Embu. It's a big block which you cannot underestimate. So yes, there is that challenge in Jubilee, in Mount Kenya, Solidarity, and also some of us are not very happy with these groupings, because if you say we are group, this is ours. You have stopped over 30 communities in Kenya. So where will we unite if people are talking about groups? They're talking about this is ours. This has to come out, because where do you keep people like us from the corner of the world? When we say Kenya is not ours, you say, oh, you are. But you see, you are not being treated as one. So let's have a formula that includes everybody. Let's have a cabinet that is a face of Kenya. Let's have administration that is a face of Kenya. Let's have a politics appointment with a face of Kenya. If you have that kind of scenario, we don't care where the head of the state will come from, because we are Kenyan. Some of the people were saying, I'm very sad to be a Kenyan. I'm not proud to be a Kenyan. The moment you have that element in your system, then you have not that solidarity. Look at the Americans. They are so diverse, but they're so proud when they come out here. I'm American. You see, you have to inculcate that thing in you, that this country is ours and they love it. But you can only love it if the other people in the country love you also. So politics has to change to and I think I like the way the president is doing. Let's work together. Even if we were fighting head on yesterday, we can still sit together for the purpose of the country and the purpose of our children. So that can develop into a good system of bringing people together. You can't fight for life. Everybody has fought everybody else in the system. You can, if you will, but people still come together.
Right. Now, we just talked about Justin Muturi, and now it's now emerging that over the last few days, questions have emerged why non-Ruto backers, especially from Mount Kenya East, were championing Muturi's candidacy. Why do you think after Muturi's coronation, some of the people allied to Deputy President William Ruto now said that Muturi is their man? Is it a way to confuse the mountain?
Yes, to divide them so that you can be able to get a vote. If you look at Muturi is from Embu, you can see the Tharaka Nithi group, you can see part of the Meru group, So you're building a case that you don't stick with Uhuru, where you can still come to ODA and find it a home. Two, the deputy president has not said who is going to be his running mate. Okay? And this is a way of saying who can come. And you remember one time I thought Professor Kinditi was going to be, but things can change. And that was also a strategy for William. When I come in, this region that has been forgotten for a long time will form part of my government. So there's that scenario of playing around. If you join us, you remember this grouping, which I don't like it. You have a group who say, sasa sisi ukitaka tukusapoti, if you want us to support you, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, you're already putting conditions, and how many groups can put conditions to a candidate, and how many of those conditions can be fulfilled? Yeah. But people are looking for positions to be closer to the system, whichever will be. And that one...
Let me ask you a question here.
That one has split the mountain.
Yes. Okay, let me ask you this question. Is DP Ruto running out of options? If yes, why? If no, what are some of the options does he have right now?
Yes and no. Yes, because if the big six, because there were big five when the president was not supporting the NASA group, if the big six are on one side, that's a challenge. You may be strong, you may have strategies, but that big six commands numbers. So that is the challenge. The other side is the deputy president is so intelligent that he goes around within the team, he has his people. And he has created a really network that one day you may wake up and you see a big change in terms of his politics. So yes, if the many big people stay together, then that forms a very difficult situation. And you know what I'm waiting for is to see the numbers, the political numbers in terms of those who call the shots in each team. That will give you a scenario. If you have strong people who have influence on the ground, who are these and who can they be? You see two regions are so quiet, and I'm trying to make a study. The regions that are so quiet, one is Nyanza. It's so quiet, I think it's watching. The other one is Rift Valley. You know, it's coming up and down in terms of their full support. That will make a difference. If people want to do something, can go there. Western, sometimes you see some split in terms of statements. But these regions that are not saying anything, brother, they have something. When the water runs deep, it looks like it's not moving. There will be a change.
Okay. All right. Right now, it's a few minutes past 9 a.m. and I think it's the right time to take just a very short break. But when we come back, let's also talk about the issue of businessman that is Jimmy Wanjigi, also saying that, you know, he's been a kingmaker, but this time around, it is his time for Be the King. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more after this break.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and you're still right in time for The Viewpoint. My name is Victor Oloo, and we're still continuing with our discussion. A lot happened over the weekend and over the past few days, and of course we're still trying to get the real gist of the stories from the political analyst and the governance expert point of view. And that is why it's called The Viewpoint. I am with Hamisi Mboga, who is a communication expert, a political analyst, and a governance expert, who is trying to give us a real feel of what is happening in the political scene and what we should expect now that the 2022 general election is just but around the corner. 13 months or so is not so far away for the politicians and as a country. I beg your pardon. Now, Hamisi, let's just get back to the discussion here. And let me ask you this question now. The businessman, that is Jimmy Wanjigi, now says that he's been a kingmaker and he aided President Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto to ascend to power. And now he says that it is time to also get to the hot seat. What do you make of that?
Thank you. I think Kenyans are allowed, every person who has a vision and he can be able to fight for a political seat is allowed. But that gives us another scenario. Now that Honorable Wanjigi has come in, Governor Muranga Mwangi wanted, he has actually said he's going to contest for the presidency. And you can see in the region, there are more people who are coming up, maybe after Uhuru. This question is after Uhuru politically. What happens to the region in terms of those who are coming up? The former governor of Kiambu, there are so many heavyweights in Central Province, especially in Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West, Peter Kenneth, Anne Waiguru, and many others. So Jimmy is finding his way so that you come out and clearly. Maybe he wants to try, or he wants to really present himself as the candidate for presidency. And that gives a challenge to UDF, to Honorable Deputy President. If you have people standing in Central, and let's go to the Eastern Bloc, you have the governor of Meru, the former governor of Meru, the governor of Embu, the governor of Tharaka-Nithi. You know, the governor of Tharaka-Nithi has gone quiet so much. What is cooking in there? So we have heavyweights that may come up. So the scenario may be different. You may have more candidates coming up. Now, those who have been on the front line may have to renegotiate, may have to regroup those people that are coming up now. And in politics, you need to have numbers and finances. So people put up mathematics. You may have the numbers, but if you can't support the candidature financially, then you have a long way to go. So Jimmy is a potential candidate and must not be underrated. One time he supported the Baba, and this time he supported the Uhuru Ruto. So when you are a kingmaker, you're finding a level to become a future king after the king is gone.
Yeah. All right. It's just a matter of wait and see. And as you correctly put it, it's a democracy. And even you, Hamisi Mboga, if you wish to run any political seat, it's your democratic right to run for any political seat. So he's right. By all means, he is right to garner for that. So let's just clear that debate once and for all now. So what are the options for NASA as we clear up that debate? What options do NASA principals have right now? Do they have to stick together? Are they going to, to work hard and make sure that the NASA face is also oiled properly in readiness for 2022?
Maybe they have a better chance if they rework their strategies. They look at the conditions in 2017 and the conditions now, and re-strategize what will happen when, and looking at their support, because the other people are going to their base to also look for support. They have a better chance. They have a challenge if they split, as they have been trying to. If they don't come back together, they'll have a challenge, because another candidate can come up and people say, if these people are not working together, why don't we support this other? So that is the dilemma that they have. they have to work together. They have to think and rise together. Then they have a better chance. Because UDA is going to all regions right now. Western, it is there. And Nyanza, they have started penetrating. So if you don't work together, you are opening the doors for other parties politically to come into your area. And in politics, people just don't join because they like the candidate. No, they like the candidate who will galvanize a lot of support for them to win. You are joining a party that will have an influence to push you up to your position. You don't join a party that has not even won a seat. So people will look for a strong base, and we can see Mheshimiwa Baba, Odinga, Raila Odinga, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo is a strong base. Mheshimiwa, all these people who are coming up, Mheshimiwa William Ruto, we are saying Mudavadi. So those are the pillars. If you join, if 2 or 3 pillars join together, the strength is there. And people will go for, this group will take us. When you are a member of parliament or Aspari, if you're a member of MCA or Aspari, you want a team that will win so that you can be able to be in. So it's all about mathematics, and it has started. And this scenario that has been started by the president, I want to see how far it goes. Is you join together, I'll support you. You know, it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
If you're not joining, then you have no support. It's a key. Let's take it out.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's a good point to leave that at. But let's just shift gears briefly. And on Monday, Hamisi, the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission IBC chairman, that is Wafula Chebukati, raised a matter of high degree here. I'm talking about the minimum degree. And he said that come 2022, he will make sure that the amended Section 22 of the Elections Act will be implemented from next year, where the bare minimum is a university degree for the MCAs. And this has not gone down so well with many people. What is your take on this, Hamisi?
It can't go down with very many people because of just the principles of politics. Leadership does not translate into papers. Papers sometimes don't support you in leadership concept. This started when I was the Secretary General of Association of Local Government Authorities of Kenya. In 2010, when we passed that constitution, that idea of having quality leadership came. That idea of having the MCAs having higher qualifications came in. But we went up to Parliament to influence the Parliament that even some of you members of Parliament don't have degrees. Why should MCAs have degrees? We went until the bill was drafted. It was saying leadership. Let's leadership be open. Let's look at other qualities of leadership, integrity, support, and all these. Because history tells us in Kenya, so many people have successfully led us who are not educationally at the degree level and above. And those who have even beyond may have done very badly. So let's not use it as a criteria for leadership. It has a good point because the kind of leadership at the county level right now, with all those kind of policies, papers, you need somebody who can be able to read and write. But why don't we employ very technical people and pay them to be able to do this? And the leadership will be decision making, governance, and showing people direction. But then it is also important. My suggestion was, in fact, after that, when I had my suggestion was what we did at Algak. When we had this, we called a big meeting of all MCAs. Time is changing. Can you start changing? We worked with the JQAT. We developed 3 courses: certificate, diploma, and degree level for leadership in local government. We trained about 600 leaders, and 67 of them majority went for certificate, 67 went for a diploma, And as I speak now, I'm proud to say that 7 former councillors are graduates as we speak right now. But you encourage them, don't force them, because we said it's your leader. If you can be able to handle this, we can support. So why don't we leave it open? We say leadership requires quality and professionalism, but don't. Human rights say don't block others from doing. Maybe other people who are so good at thinking, at policy, are not that educated. Those who guided us up to here were not educated. Our mothers, our fathers who even took us, they had to sell land so that we can go to. They were not educated, but they had a vision. They had said, my son or my daughter, if he goes to school, will do this. And they didn't force us. They said, some of us were not forced. The choice is there. Do you want to go to school or do you? But if you force somebody, sometimes it comes with a negative connotation. It comes with vengeance. Why are they stopping us? And it's a wrong time, because Mheshimiwa Ruto says we want to start from the bottom and hustlers have a right. And you are saying those who are not educated have no right. It is a political bombshell. So I don't encourage it.
Yeah.
I would say let's go slow with it. Let's revisit the law and says we encourage people to have qualities and the skills and information, because as a leader, you also need to call shots. Somebody brings you a paper and you can't even argue about it. You can't even ask a question. But let's let it be an option, not a rule.
Let it be an option, not a rule. But the question would therefore be, when it comes to debate, how would one who is not able to articulate some of these issues be given a chance to lead a nation? Or perhaps, as I said earlier, we want to represent your constituents in a high-level debate. How would one articulate some of the issues if one does not have requisite papers or knowledge?
We pushed for that reason, for that argument, until we have the two languages that can be used both at Parliament building, Parliament, and also at the Assembly. If you can speak Kiswahili, my dear brother, you can bring any policy, you can bring any issue, and even if you speak your mother tongue, there could be somebody who can translate what you have said, so that people get the gift. Because we're going to lose a lot of potential issues and policies from people who never went to school, but they're so good. So we have two languages. Why should we not translate even the law? I'm using the Constitution of Kenya 2020 in Kiswahili. It's so that it's there. Why don't we translate the other documents so that people can be able to use and still perform their functions properly? I watch the debates in Tanzania. Those who are speaking their mother, those who are speaking Swahili, they are so deep in their thoughts, and then you can decide to translate what they have said.
So between now and next year, I'm so sure we are likely to see, as many would see, I would say, that many of the people who are going to be running for these political seats will be try to acquire degrees, just to have these particular positions in their hands. Are we likely to see an upsurge of fake degrees, diplomas, masters, and what have you come next year if this is implemented, this amended act is implemented?
We had that challenge in 2011. And we saw a lot of degrees and papers and certificates and diplomas. And it affected the system. But I'm glad some of them were checked. Some of them were told, no, you can't do it. Especially for governorship, people really went all out to make sure that they have a degree. Therefore, it forced people to go the other way around. Not happily going to college, to university to learn, but to acquire. This difference of acquire. People can buy those things. The moment you force something, people will bring you. You want a PhD? Somebody was saying O level, which third degree, is it first class, second class, or third? They can create these things, and they look so genuine. I don't know where they get these papers. So
Yes.
if you put a block, like you say, you don't want things from Tanzania to come, they will come. The moment you stop, somebody will find another route. If you keep it open, people just think, do I go? Do I not go? So I still believe in this policy of let's do it slowly, let's develop slowly, and let's make sure that whatever we discuss in assemblies and in parliament create a situation where somebody needs to go back to school, needs to get skills, needs to get, especially languages. It is so important. But if you want a language certificate, it will come. We are Kenyans.
And you talked of something that you were part of the team that formulated a program at JQAT, right? For leadership and governance programs. Now, from that direction, what would you think should be the bare minimum for leadership come 2022, or even moving forward?
I would propose post O-level for MCA and a certificate. And if you go higher, at least a diploma. But going for a degree right away is not, because we were encouraging our councillors, at least get a certificate, post O-level certificate, and post O-level at least a diploma. You know that somebody with those kind of qualifications. I've been teaching at JQuat. Those two people are reasonable. People are arguing. Their arguments are good. You just want to push them up and say, now you can be able to do it. In fact, some of them were so good, they had just to go through the course they had already passed, because they had that level of thinking, that level of argument, that level of writing. So O-level, good O-level plus a certificate, to me, is good for MCA, and then you can go up slowly. You don't stop people from, even if I have a PhD, can't I be an MCA? Because actually it's leadership. What is I'm required, and the more I'm educated, the better I am in terms of advising my people. So to me again, I go back there. Let's open it up. Let's go slowly, but at least a certificate and diploma can do. We had suggested that one in Parliament when they were trying to revise the Urban Areas and Cities Act.
All right, and. Just before we bring this discussion to an end, let's just talk briefly. IEB said that they are ready for 2022, of course, and the last election and the subsequent, these last elections were marred by lots of, petitions and after petitions during those elections. But then now, IEBC chair says that they are ready for the next election, and they are ready to have to install multiple servers for 2022. The House, they're still looking for 4 commissioners to fill the vacant positions. So do you think Chebukati is right now ready for that position, or just a promise?
If the team is put in place, if the whole team of commissioners are put in place, if they have all the technical people put in place, if they revise their structure downwards, and I would propose that the counting of votes is done at the local level. When you finish at a county level, you know the numbers for your MCA, the votes for your members of parliament, the votes for your senator. Let's also have the votes of the president at that level. Because if we change the law that the president can be sworn in after some time, so that you give people to have those tally, you'll get the correct information. But this technology of rushering, I saw a graph going and stopping at one place, and for 1 hour it's not moving. This thing should not happen. Let's go and count there. Right. Let's use buses, and as long as all those papers have been signed by those people who matter, it doesn't matter how long they take to reach Nairobi. But let it be authentic votes signed for each person. Hii mambo ya kubadilisha njiani has affected because we know so-and-so has won, but he's not won because the machine says no. So why don't we remove that? That will help IBC. Let their officers on the ground do a good work. Let them do the counting properly, the presiding officers, the returns. Let them be papers, a copy for the candidate, a copy for the presiding of and copy goes to Nairobi for Chebukati to be able to do the tallying. The tallying will be on those votes, which we can revisit. If he says Kakamega had 10, let's see the Kakamega votes. Let's see the papers that have been signed from the people. So I think if they do that, and they, believe you me, they have the time, they should be able to give us a good. We don't want very expensive equipment that will mess us politically.
Yes, absolutely. And just before we wind up, just your last words as we wind up. You said that this time around, he will give all the stakeholders like media access to the servers for the easy verification and transmission and transparency to enhance transparency and accuracy, as well as verification of results. So perhaps you may think that IBC Chair Fletcher Bukati learned his lesson from the past experience.
Yeah, he's playing a game like he's playing a role like the president. He wants to go out with a clean slate, or a better slate, a better plate. So I think he's addressing those issues that came up.
Yes.
The other solution is whether we have those system or not, as long as the things is done properly.
Yes.
The voting is done properly, checking the votes done properly, counting done properly, and transported properly. We are still at that age we shall transport physically. One time, Thika took about 2 days. The results have not reached Nairobi, and we didn't complain, you know. So let's take time, but make sure that we get the correct stuff for the people who have really voted. Because we are saying people have voted this, and you are saying no. You, one person somewhere, it's not right ethically. It's not right ethically. And I will support him now if he says those systems will be checked, employ more people. We would rather spend money to employ more people in the system to be able to ensure the voting, the process is done properly, than buying a machine, one machine that is not even housed in Kenya. It's not right.
Absolutely. Hamisi
Mboga? Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Hamisi Mboga, for your contribution to the show. And of course, you as a viewer, thank you so much for your valid company. We have been talking to Hamisi Mboga, who is a governance expert and a political analyst, just giving us his side, his perception, and of course, his ideas on how this country can be run effectively. All right. It's now time to call it a wrap at this particular point, but I want to thank you, our viewer, for your valid company, and of course, my co-host, Jen Wamboi, and of course, the entire crew for making this possible. Let's do this again tomorrow. My name is Victor Lo. Have a good day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you.